Has Salem figured that out yet, that there are cats outside, or is she just kind of
She
not having it?
and Big Boy have made complete eye contact and stared at each other. She did not seem mad, but she also did not seem happy about it.
I swear to God, that cat, she is not, yeah. I was gonna say mine would probably be like, oh, come over here, I'll groom you. No.
Well, for those of you that have been following me for a while, you know that Thack was originally supposed to be my cat.
Yeah,
Thackeray.
that went over. Thackeray. No,
That went over like
no,
a turd in a punch bowl, okay? Fucking
yeah.
Salem
She went feral. She really
immediately.
did. Yeah, she went feral. She does not do the kitty cats, especially the boy kitty cats.
You guys make fun and say that he was doing the Pepe Le Pew. I'm like, I know he was. He
He really
saw her and
was. He
he
was
was
like,
like, "Oh, hello, Miss Lady. Let me just strut my stuff over to you." And she's like, "I am a lesbian. Please leave me alone."
well, you got to remember, Thack also came from a household, which just horrifies me, that there were at least 3 cats and 2 dogs, a husband, a wife, and a child, all living in a single bedroom of the parents' house. And I'm like, the poor cats. So I think there was like 5 cats or something like that. I just know he had 2 brothers that were there with him, but they couldn't separate the brothers. And he was like, sure, I'll take my own space. I don't care. He is like the most easygoing cat ever.
Yeah, and
He
meanwhile, I
really is.
think Salem, with her basically being abandoned in a apartment complex when she was a kitten, I think there might have been other cats there that were not nice to her because she was so little.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Probably. She's justified.
she's
But
justified
yeah,
in
you're
her.
probably right. He probably came up on her like, hey there, good looking. Can I give you a lick or 3? And she went, oh, back the fuck off there, kitty cat. Yeah, she wasn't having any of it. She really, really, really was pissed.
Yeah, I've never
She was,
seen her like that. She
no.
was mad constantly. I felt so bad for her when we finally got done because she had like torn up her toe beans. And she finally, like, when she realized he was no longer in the house, she laid down with me and just passed out completely upside down, tongue sticking out. I'm like, you haven't slept in like a week, have you?
No, you only had him for like 4 days. Three,
Like
4 days.
4 or 5 days. It was around my
No,
birthday,
because you got him on a Friday and we got him the following Monday or Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah, something like that. And you just went, yeah, this isn't going to work. I'm like, oh, well, kind of saw that coming because your cat was having none of it. And mine's over like, yes, I love everybody. Of which, yeah, we just dropped him in our house with the 2 dogs. And he was like, sweet. And my dogs are like, oh, shit, the cat's back. Because Salem lived with us for a while. So, yeah, there's still, Winnie still gets a little bit of distrust. I don't think she recognizes that's her boy or what, but yeah.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I'm like, Salem is kind of like a don't touch me attitude.
Yes.
Very much
And the
so.
last time, yeah, and the last time she was here, she was not happy about being here. Because I was babysitting while you and Dad were up in Colorado having a little trip of some sort. And
Adventure
yeah,
time.
yeah, adventure time. Well, Salem wasn't having that. I should have just taken her back home, but I also didn't want her being over there home alone. So yeah, we just left her alone and made sure in the evenings that she was in the bathroom so that she wouldn't tear up stuff. Because, yeah, the first thing she did is she came in here and I was online and then suddenly I wasn't. And she took my frickin' modem down. Just snapped the wire. Gone.
Yeah.
Little turd. Yeah.
Dad almost
So,
lost his headphones to her the other day because apparently my warnings of don't let her get your headphones were not heard.
she's insane.
Well, like he was giving me shit like the second week we were here because we had a fatality as per usual with Salem, which is why I'm like, when my computer is left unattended, she's locked in the back room or it is covered with a blanket because I'm not going to
Yeah.
spend $100 to replace a cord on this bitch. But my headphones have fallen out of the little cabinet that I'm keeping all of those spare electronics in. So as soon as we're done recording, the microphone goes back in there, the camera goes back in there. Anything that has a wire that can be disconnected that I do not need to be using goes back in there, especially if it's not a
Right.
braided cable.
Yeah.
So they fell out. I didn't realize. And literally in the 2 seconds that it took me to bring my laptop out here, go, oh, I need my headphones, and then go back to that room, they were destroyed. She bit through like 4 of the lines on it. And Dad's like, maybe I could fix it. I'm like, I showed it to him. He's like, I can't fix that.
I was gonna say that was reminiscent. We also call her Fiona too because we had house rabbits when Katie was little, and Fiona was a terror. Loved her dearly, but God, she was just only rabbit I've ever heard growl in my life. She would growl at you, literally. And we had just bought Tom the Xbox steering wheel and gas thing for he still is big into Forza and racing. We're like, oh, this make it more realistic. He got it hooked up, sat down, and I shit you not, it was dead. I was like, what the hell just happened? And all we see is this little fuzzy white butt going away from it. And sure enough, Fiona walked by, snip, gone. Took down his brand new Xbox racing kit. So yeah, we call the Salem is a reincarnation of Fiona the rabbit that took down all the wires in the friggin' house.
The amount of times I've replaced my computer cable, my laptop cable, not the big computer cable, because the big computer cable is like $150 to get replaced. I don't want to replace that bitch if I can avoid it. The laptop cable, though, like I'd be sitting and doing research in the living room in the rocking chair and just like sitting there, and then all of a sudden my computer goes, battery low. I'm like, huh? What the fuck? And then it shuts off. I'm like, what the hell? It's plugged in. I look over and it's just complete snip through the cable. I'm like, are you fucking shitting me? I've replaced that motherfucker 4 fucking times. And now whenever she gets close to it, I like do the, Salem, get the hell away from it.
Yeah.
Y'all think I'm like mean to this cat when I yell at her. It's the only thing that keeps her away from the wires. And I've heard her
really
electrocute
does.
herself 3 times. I've tried everything, okay? I have tried cayenne pepper on the wires. I have tried
She likes that.
peppermint. I have tried citrus. She does not care.
No.
That's
she
just
really
extra
doesn't.
spicins.
She like we say, she is not a cat. I mean, I give mine shit. Oh, where'd he go? That's worrisome. I give him shit for he gets up on stuff and knocks things off. He does the typical asshole cat move of knocking shit off the counters and stuff. He's a good boy. I can handle that. I would rather have that 10 times over than have to deal with Salem and her biting through fucking wires. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, she really is. She's insane.
She's freaking crazy.
Yep. She's just a little off, but we love her.
I think grandpa's are covered with a blanket right now, and she has not moved since. I'm like, oh, are we comfy?
It's like it's dark and it's quiet and it's warm. I'm good. Yeah. Poor cat.
Daytime, nighttime,
Nighttime.
daytime. Alrighty. Well, while we understand that some individuals listen for the entertainment aspect of true crime, it's important to remember that these are real people with families and friends who may still be suffering from their loss. These stories are not meant to open old wounds or cause further emotional damage to those involved. We remind you to please be respectful and do not dox or contact those involved with cases. The case discussed in this podcast today may be disturbing to some listeners, and listener discretion is advised. Trigger warnings today. We have a minor.
Oh. No.
So, Brookelyn Farthing, or Brooke, was born on August 19th of 1994. She grew up in Berea, Kentucky, a small town located in Madison County, best known for its art festivals, historic restaurants and buildings, and the Berea Liberal Arts College and its tight-knit community. Brookelyn was a standard country girl who liked doing the outdoorsy things like fishing and riding four-wheelers, but also loved dressing up and putting on a full face of makeup to go out with friends. She loved animals and was described as a sweet and spunky girl. Brookelyn was a very laid-back social butterfly who was loved by everyone who knew her. She had a large social group, but was very close with her family, especially her older sister Tasha and younger sister Paige, even at times being noted as the glue that holds everyone together. At the time of her disappearance, Brooklyn had recently graduated in June of 2013 from Madison Southern High School, and like many new adults to the world, was considering her options. She hadn't decided if she was going to continue her education or if she should take some time before jumping back into it, even mentioning to her mom, just give me a month off. Brooklyn had an interest in pursuing cosmetology, as she loved doing hair and makeup. On the day of June 21st of 2013, Brooklyn and Paige had both scheduled to take their driving tests. Paige was first and unfortunately didn't pass. Apparently, this became a running joke for the rest of the day. However, the two did come home giggling and bubbly with joy as Brooklyn passed her driver's test.
Okay.
The Farthing family then attended their grandfather's 70th birthday as a group, as they were currently unsure if he would make it through the weekend. Later that same evening, Brooklyn, Paige, and their cousin planned to attend another birthday party. However, I got a note here that in the investigation discovery episode, it seems that this may have been an end of the year party too, to celebrate summer break on Red Lick Road. Brooklyn had already made plans with a friend to spend the night prior to arriving at the location and had a overnight bag prepared. Prior to the three leaving, everyone was smiling, happy, giving out hugs, and saying goodbye to fellow relatives. The rules were clear as they went out into the night: have fun and call back in. Now, from here, this is from what I would describe as a bonfire party that they're going to. There's music playing, and there are trucks backed up with tailgates open towards the fire. Girls are dancing, and guys are hanging out and having a couple of beers. According to Paige, Brooklyn seemed to be having a good time. She was socializing with people and dancing and basically having a kick-ass time at a bonfire party.
Sounds like fun.
Right?
Yeah.
Paige and her cousin eventually leave this party as Brooklyn plans to stay elsewhere and it's getting late, so they're not really worried about her. However, Brooklyn and this friend got into a disagreement. Apparently, there was a boy that her friend wanted to stay with that night at his house.
Ooh.
Understandably, this made Brooklyn uncomfortable, and she basically told this friend, "You do you, I'm going to go back home tonight." And that friend leaves Brooklyn stranded at the party with no way of getting home. At this point, Brooklyn's starting to try to figure out how she's going to get home to her house. However, she's also not going to let it spoil her evening and continues to have fun. She then notices a fellow classmate. A friend has gotten a little too inebriated and is definitely not going to be able to drive himself home. So, responsibly, she's going to try to find someone to take both of them home.
Okay.
She then finds an individual to drive her and her friend home. Now, because if you go looking online, you're going to find his name, I'm going to exempt the last name in my retelling of this, but this older individual's name is Josh.
Okay.
And he's friends with Brooklyn's ex-boyfriend, Jared.
Oh, there's an X involved.
According to Paige, Brooklyn had been living with Jared for about a year and a half, and although the family didn't seem to know Josh, it was possible that Brooklyn did. Tasha notes that Josh states he'd known Brooklyn for at least 2 to 3 years, and she and the family had never once met the man, let alone heard of him.
Whoa.
However, some of Brooklyn's current friends have met him and knew about him. Ultimately, though, Brooklyn and her friend catch a ride home from Josh. However, the group stops to look at some horses nearby and possibly ride them at Floyd Brand Road. From there, the classmate was taken home, and then Brooklyn was taken back to Josh's residence.
I'm pretty sure she didn't want to do that.
So, Josh's residence is in this area that's more secluded on the outskirts of Brea, with only about 8 to 9 houses in total around there. And there's a large lake nearby, as well as wooded areas. Brooklyn's mother also notes that the area seemed fairly nice and was actually right across the street from her Sunday school teacher's residence. Josh is in an awkward situation though. He's currently going through a divorce and the house is currently in foreclosure. Additionally, the residence has no electricity, no running water, and Brooklyn starts to feel a little uncomfortable after a while and calls Paige around 4 a.m., seeing if she and their cousin can come pick her up. Unfortunately, their cousin is intoxicated and is not going to be capable of driving safely, and without her license, Paige cannot drive. Paige offers up a solution though, asking Brooklyn if she wanted her to send someone out to pick her up. But Brooklyn declines, saying she'll have Jared come pick her up, to go ahead and lock the doors, but stay up and listen for her so she can unlock it. Paige said that during this conversation, Brooklyn seemed completely in her right mind, and it didn't seem like she was like drunk or had been drinking or was even scared for that matter. Shortly after this call, Brooklyn begins to text friends and family, frantically trying to get a ride, stating that she was uncomfortable and didn't want to be there anymore. One of these individuals being her ex-boyfriend, Jared. At around 4 a.m., Brooklyn writes him, "Please come pick me up." To which Jared explains he cannot get off work until about 6 to 6:30 a.m. at the earliest, and asks if she's going to be okay until about 7 a.m. to when he can get to her. Brooklyn says that's fine, and Jared asks if she's okay. Brooklyn then again states she's fine, and she'd been drinking but she'd sobered up. That his friend was in the other room, passed out, and she was sitting on the couch smoking a cigarette. At around 4:26 a.m., Brooklyn begins to become more urgent and begins asking, "Can you hurry up? Please hurry." And "I'm scared."
Oh, God, poor kid.
Because Jared is working a night shift at a factory and believes everything is all right, he's not regularly checking his phone. But when he does, he sees the messages followed by one more at 5:30 a.m. At 5:30 a.m., Brooklyn wrote a message saying, "Never mind, I'm okay. I'm going to a party in Rockcastle County."
Oh, bullshit. We all know that from dealing with serial killers. That wasn't her. Yeah.
Now, I want to note that there's a lot of discrepancies between time frames being reported by the media. Everyone seems to have different times. Most of my information from here on forward is coming from interviews the family has given to other podcasts or media sources. At 9 a.m. that morning, Brooklyn didn't show up to a car show that she planned on attending with a friend. This friend reaches out to her family and asks if anyone has heard from Brooklyn, to which the family says no, they haven't. Brooklyn's mom mentions how Brooklyn is the type of person who would send thousands of texts a day of where she's at, who she's with, where she's going, what she's doing. However, there's none yet. The family isn't quite in full-blown panic though. It was a late night and there was drinking at the second party. Maybe Brooklyn had fallen asleep or her phone had died. However, Tasha does some digging to figure out who Brooklyn went home with that night, and through a friend of Paige's, gets the number of Josh. She asks if Brooklyn was there, and Josh proceeds to tell her that Brooklyn was there, or had been there. She then asks how he knew her, and Josh states that he's friends and family with her ex-boyfriend Jared, and he's known her for roughly 2 to 3 years. He then states that he hadn't seen her that morning, but does mention that she was talking about going to a party in Rockcastle County. Tasha asks if he knew anything about the party, where it was at, who was taking her there. Josh replies that he doesn't know and that he was feeling uncomfortable at the house because of Brooklyn and Jared's previous relationship. More so, he was uncomfortable about being there when Jared came to pick her up. So from what it sounds like, he left before Jared arrived.
According to him.
According to him. Tasha mentions that if they don't hear from her or where this party is in a little bit, she'd be contacting the authorities because everyone is looking for her and she's not answering her phone. The family continues to go about their day, thinking Brookelyn will check in soon. Still running the scenario of her phone's dead or she's sleeping off last night. Tasha mentions how the family was preparing to go to the lake, which is about a 5-minute drive from where they lived, at the time when she receives a call back from Josh. Josh starts to state that he's super nervous and worried, and Tasha asks him why. He then states that all of Brooklyn's things are still at his house. Tasha says maybe she'd left the items to go do something real quick and asks if he could go look through them. To which Josh responds, no, he hadn't looked through them. He was just looking at them through a hole in his window.
What?
Tasha, confused, asks, why? And Josh responds, oh, because my house is on fire.
Oh, ain't that a fucking quinky dink? And why the hell? What? Oh, yeah, okay. So many things, yeah. No. No.
Tasha responds with, what do you mean your house is on fire? Josh states that he doesn't know what happened or if Brookelyn did it. Maybe
Oh,
her
yeah, right,
cigarette dropped. But when he came back from putting up the horses, the place was on fire.
Okay, so you had to take time to call the missing girl's parents and tell them that you can see her stuff is still in the house. I'm just gonna say it. That doesn't fucking line up.
No,
I'm sorry.
it doesn't.
That is so off. Well, I'm looking through a telescope and I can see him type of thing. It's like, no.
No.
No. That's not how. No. No.
Now all
No.
of the red flags and alarm bells start
Oh.
rolling.
Woo, woo, woo,
Everyone
woo.
is
Yeah.
going into overdrive at this point. 911 calls
Exactly.
are made, and the family starts trying to gather any information on if the fire department has been dispatched to the residence, and if so, what were their thoughts.
Somebody set the house on fire. Really? You don't say.
According to Investigation Discovery, there was a call made to 911 at 7 a.m. from Josh about the building being on fire. Additionally, multiple people immediately started calling Brookelyn's phone over and over, trying to get her to answer. The family rushes to the scene to see if Brookelyn is still there, but upon arriving, all they found was her overnight bag and cowboy boots.
Okay, so she didn't even have shoes on when she left?
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Presumably no,
this
unless she
isn't
had
sketch
something
as...
in her overnight bag.
I was gonna say, this isn't sketch as fuck, but okay.
According to Investigation Discovery's coverage, when interviewed, Josh stated that last he saw her, she was sitting on the couch smoking a cigarette. And although he didn't feel comfortable leaving her there, he went to go tend to his horses.
And per her text messages to the ex-boyfriend, Jared, he was
sitting on the
passed out in
couch.
another... Yeah, but
Yeah.
he was passed out in another room. So, I don't know about you, and I've been hungover many a time. I don't bounce up that quickly and run out to take care of animals.
Mm-hmm.
To me, yeah, dude's, yeah.
The only things that were destroyed in this fire was a couch. And what's more is that it's the only thing that actually had caught fire in the house.
Okay.
It's also important to mention that there's no electricity, so the possibility of faulty wiring being the cause of the fire is out.
So it could have possibly been her cigarette,
It could have.
but that seems oddly specific. That a quinkadinkly, that's the last place he saw her sitting, and now it's gone up in
Burning.
flames.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only things missing are Brookelyn and her cell phone. The Kentucky State Police immediately began searching the area around the foreclosing house, searching the wooded area and nearby bodies of water for Brookelyn, utilizing dive teams and cadaver dogs. Law enforcement also used a cell phone ping tactic to better gain a triangulation of where she might be. The phone rang for about 2 to 3 days before it inevitably went dead. Additionally, the area that Brooklyn's phone is pinging was very close to the area she was last seen. However, this area is incredibly difficult to search. There's dense woods, steep hills, sinkholes, cliffs, and random drop-off points. And that doesn't even account for the rattlesnakes and copperheads hiding in the brush or other wildlife lurking about. Searches are still ongoing to this day, but without a lot of manpower or help, it's difficult to search. Additionally, as time goes on, most individuals willing to volunteer don't even know what they're looking for anymore. Tasha mentions how when they go out, they try to pick an area and search it thoroughly. However, at the time of the interview she gave to the Vanished podcast in 2017, they still had not searched at least half of the area in which that ping is being brought up.
Okay, now I'm going to go back to the obvious. The so-called friend of theirs?
We're actually about to get there.
Okay, good, because I'm going, oh, please, they could not have just said, okay, we give up and she's gone missing. Please, no.
Jared was brought in for questioning. However, his alibi was airtight as he had been working at the factory all night. Josh was also brought in for questioning, as well as everyone else who attended that party that night. However, no one has been named a suspect in the crime. Josh has also spoken with law enforcement on multiple occasions about Brooklyn's case, however, nothing really came of it. Additionally, if law enforcement wants to question him, apparently he's very open and willing to do so. With very little to go on, rumors began to run wild. People began to theorize that Brooklyn's disappearance may have been linked to multiple other blonde-haired women who had disappeared in the Heartland.
Oh, goody. Is this going to lead into a frickin' serial killer thing in the area?
It could.
Yeah, I'm seeing your face. This is exactly where it's going. You shit. Okay. Yeah, I was going to suggest that too.
There are other theories that something went terribly wrong between the hours of 4:26 a.m. and 5:30 a.m. Brooklyn's family fears that something was on the couch and it was burned to destroy the evidence. Additionally, Tasha mentions how strange it was that Brooklyn would be going to a party in Rockcastle County at close to 6 a.m. in the morning that nobody else knows about. The family also makes mention of how they all do not believe the final text message was actually from Brooklyn, especially with her being scared and uncomfortable in her environment, and then all of a sudden she's completely fine.
Exactly. That's my thing too. I'm sorry. I don't care how good a liar that dude is. He had something to do with it.
So, law enforcement has spoken about how they are still continuing to work on this case to this day, and how voluntary disappearances hinder cases like Brooklyn's in the public eye. Speculation that an individual left on their own volition or ran away can be detrimental to how cases like these are solved. The current investigator does not believe that Brooklyn left of her own free will, and this was not the case of somebody walking away from their life only to reemerge sometime later.
Yeah.
The most important thing is giving the family closure, prosecution of the case, and seeing that justice is served.
Amen on that one.
Furthermore, the investigator does mention how the roads off of the interstate are not like your normal roads you'd see unless you're from the area. There's not always cleared brush on the sides, and at times it pushes up to the woods, especially on the roads leading to hunting grounds. It is very unfortunate, impossible to miss something so close to the road.
Oh, exactly.
Moreover, the law enforcement also wants answers for what happened to Brooklyn and continue to hold hope that there will be closure for this case one day. Now, for a few notes that didn't seem to fit comfortably anywhere other than the end.
Okay. I'm going to go lay it on me because nothing of this was comfortable, so.
Now, according to Investigation Discovery, Josh works in road maintenance and knows the backwoods of Brea inside and out. Josh was arrested in 2020 for unrelated charges of possession of child pornography.
Oh no.
Brooklyn's mother does want him to be questioned again regarding her daughter's disappearance, as she believes he knows more than what he's letting on or has told authorities.
I agree.
Unfortunately, Brooklyn's family is dealing with a sombering reality that Brooklyn may not be alive anymore. And without a body, the investigation is hindered. Tasha states that the thing about people who have family members who are missing is that grief never goes away.
No, there's no closure.
Because this is an active investigation, there is information that cannot be discussed actively by law enforcement, because they do need to consider the future court proceedings and how what they're disclosing may affect that process.
Exactly. Well, I feel bad for her parents. And it's like, once again, active serial killers in the area, active killers in the area, trafficking, which does not get pointed out nearly enough. And it's not just women, it's men too.
Yeah. Human trafficking is a huge issue that just kind of gets swept under the rug a lot of the time.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate that it's like that, but I think it's just that fact of we don't want to talk about something that's so uncomfortable because we don't want to believe that that's a reality for some people.
It's a very much a reality, and a lot of people don't realize that. They want to stay in their own comfortable little safe space and not have to deal with that shit, which I completely understand that. I would love to too. But there is some hinky shit going on out there, people. Open
Well,
your
it's
eyes.
like and I can speak from living in Phoenix, which is a very hot spot like for sex trafficking, especially in the area that I was at. Being a young woman and living alone and being scared and like watching people follow you. It does not matter how pretty you are, how much you weigh, they will take you. They do not
Oh,
care.
yeah. Exactly.
If you seem like an easy enough target, they will go after you.
There's a reason that we say you put your head on a swivel.
Mm-hmm.
Look around. And honest to God, my biggest thing is if somebody's making you uncomfortable, stare them the fuck down
Mm-hmm.
and let them know you are watching them. And make sure you get a hold of somebody that will come and if you're not feeling safe, come and help you.
Yeah, there's no shame of going back into a store, talking to somebody
No.
that works there, and saying, hey, I really need somebody to walk out to my car with me. There's usually security detail in every single store. You just don't see them because they're normally dressed in regular clothes. However, there is security at almost every single shopping center that you can go to. Go in, talk to somebody, be like, I am uncomfortable. Will you just walk to my car with me? And even going
Exactly.
back to a couple weeks ago in Arizona, I was coming out of our grocery store and there was a group of guys that were kind of like loitering by the front, but not really seeming to cause any trouble, but definitely made my stomach turn and made me kind of do that double take. I stared them down as I was walking out. I got to my car, and as I was coming back, they were following another young girl out. And I pulled up alongside her and I went, hey, I've been looking for you. And she's like, looked at me like, oh, thank God somebody's going to help me. And I'm like, where's your car at? Let me take you to your car.
Yeah. Ladies, have the other ladies' backs because we got to protect each other. It's not just I'm not saying it's just women that are targeted, but the vast majority of women are targeted. I mean, good God,
Yeah.
remember over in Bullhead when we were with Sherry and she was completely oblivious to that dude and you were eyeballing him, but I was on him. I followed him all over the store and finally ran him off. But
Yep.
yeah, it
Well,
was he was bad time looking, trying to do something.
yeah, I was with Dad at the grocery store, I think it was yesterday, and he was on his phone the whole time and just situational white. And I'm like, I turned to him, I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, I gotta make the call. I'm like, you should have stayed in the car if you were gonna be like this. Because it drives me nuts and it makes me
Oh
anxious.
God, yeah. I don't answer the phone. I don't do text messages. I don't do anything. I'm like, you know what? It can friggin' wait. My life is important. I will take care of it. And again, I'm also a big fan of concealed carry too, because, and it's not just saying I have a gun. I have multiple weapons at my disposal. But the number one weapon, eyeballs, brain, keep an eye out. Always watch your surroundings.
Yep. Keep your intuition about you. Something doesn't feel right. It's probably not right.
Not right. Exactly. If your gut's telling you, and again, I say the same thing with the book of The Gift of Fear. It's a very dry read, but it's a very good read.
So, it's been nearly 10 years since Brooklyn's disappearance. She would have been about 28, going on 29. There is an active Facebook page as well as a website for Brooklyn, and a $14,000 reward is being offered for information leading to the return of Brookelyn Farthing or the capture and conviction of those responsible for her disappearance. Brookelyn Shae Farthing is female. Her ethnicity is Caucasian. Her height is 5'1". Her weight is 105. Her hair color is blonde or strawberry blonde. Her hair description is shoulder length. Her eye color is brown. Last date of contact was June 22nd of 2013. She is missing from Berea, Kentucky. The age at disappearance was 18 years old, and her current age would be 29 years old. She was last seen wearing blue jeans and a gray t-shirt with the FFA insignia, Future Farmers of America, on it. Her right and left ears are pierced, and there is a birthmark on her left hip. Her NamUs profile number is MP21168, and the NCMEC number is 1218404. If you or anyone you know has any information regarding the disappearance of Brookelyn Shae Farthing, you are asked to contact the Kentucky State Police at 859-623-8404 or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's hotline at 800-843-5678. Thank you again for listening to Spattered. Please make sure to follow the show on Facebook and Instagram at Spattered Podcast and on X at Spattered Pod. If you're enjoying the show, make sure to follow and leave a 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts from. If you're watching on YouTube, like this video, subscribe, and ring the notification bell to be notified when the show goes live or drops a video. As always, if you have a case request, any questions, or are interested in sponsoring the show, please email me at spatteredpodcast@gmail.com. Spattered is a true crime podcast hosted by Caitlin Gardner and Sarah Ray. The research and edits for this episode were done by Caitlin Gardner. All the music for the show was done by Lucio Cardenas. We'll see you next time. Stay safe out there. And remember, the truth is always in the blood.